Heidi and I are going to demonstrate how we can teach our dogs some different components of loose lead walking. So what I'm going to do first is just show you what I'm using here. I like to use a double-ended lead, so there's a clip on each end, and there's various loops down the lead, so I can actually shorten the lead at any point if I wanted to, or I could have it longer if I wish, or I can actually put it around me and walk hands-free with my dog like a satchel over me like this, and then the collar is clipped there so that you've got a little bit more control with your hands. So, and it also stops us gripping if we think we're going to run into trouble anywhere, because it's that sometimes causes the dog to pull. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call Heidi over, and I'm just going to show you this first foundation exercise, which I think is absolutely essential, and it gives the dog a tool eventually to correct themselves if they feel like they've got slightly in front of you. So, hello Murphy. Murphy's come over for a sausage. Heidi, come here, my sweetheart. Good girl, well done. Sit. Good girlie. Right. What I'd like to do, good girl. You're so awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ruche the lead up so I haven't got it everywhere. Come here, love. So I'm going to show you how I hold the lead. So I've got it ruched up in my hand here, and this hand nearest the dog is free. So the dog's going to be on my left-hand side. So initially, just get some food here. So I'm going to have all my food as well in my ruched up lead hand. So this hand's empty. When I want to reward my dog, I can pull the piece of food and pay my dog here. So, Heidi, my love, come here, my lovey. So you can lure them if you need to, just for a minute. Good. Sit. Good girl. So just pay them initially just for being beside you on a loose lead. So there's always a smile in the lead like that, like a U shape or a J, depending on the size of your dog. And just pay them several times for being there. And they'll realise there that it's a pretty good place to be. So you might be sitting at a curb or something like that eventually, and the dog will think, oh, I'd like sitting beside you because I might get a payment. Good girl. So this is the little exercise that I think is absolutely crucial. So I'm going to picture, when I'm walking my dog, that this zone in front of me is the no-go zone. I don't want my dog to go in this area here. I'd like them anywhere behind these two imaginary lines. So what I'm going to do eventually is have these lines as something that the dog will understand, and they will choose to walk back beside me when they feel themselves encroach on that line. So we've got to teach it. So all we do is teach the dog this move. Okay, so I'm going to have a treat on her nose. I'm going to bring my left leg back. My dog comes round and behind me, and then she comes back next to me. Good girl. Nice. Very clever. Good girlie. Then I'm going to show you from this angle. I'm going to bring my left leg back. The dog goes round and then comes back beside me. Good. And I'm going to stand in front of her, so I don't have to keep moving the dog. I'm moving me, so I don't have to keep setting her up. So it's left leg, left hand. Good. So she's travelling anti-clockwise towards me. Okay. So she's going anti-clockwise. And then next to me, okay? So this is quite strenuous, so don't overdo it if you've got a puppy, just do it a few times. So 5, maybe 10 at the absolute most. So I'll do it again. So I'm just teaching her the behaviour. There's no food in my hand now this time. It's literally left leg, left hand at the same time, and the dog learns to come back beside you. Okay, good girl, well done. One more time. Good, excellent, very nice. So I want them to commit to looping round behind us first. So eventually what will happen is, if I've got enough room on my screen, it will look like this. Excuse me, good girlie. That's it. So you're walking along and the dog goes in front, like that. And I don't like that, so before the lead goes tight, I'm going to just do that little manoeuvre. So you want to repeat this when you set off on a walk. Repeat it several times when you set off on a walk. So if you did that, I walk forward with my dog, the dog's not even in front of me, and I'm still going to do this. Just get them used to travelling in that little figure of 8 that she did just then. And that way they'll see it as part of the norm of their walk, and it'll come as second nature. But you're looking for about 200 repetitions of this before they actually learn it. And the key is, don't do it when the lead is tight. Always do it before the lead's tight, so that they practice the behaviour you want, and the behaviour that you don't want, the pulling, will eventually go away. So I always do that whether my dog is pulling or not, or going ahead of that line or not, and then that way you can almost guarantee they're never going to enter that zone, because they know that when their nose heads anywhere towards that imaginary line, that you're going to do this. And that's a lot of effort, so they might as well just continue to walk on a loose lead beside you from start to finish. Okay, so that's your number one step that needs doing. Another little exercise that I think is absolutely invaluable is to get your dog to orientate to you and touch base when you want. So it looks a bit like this. We're going to stop when, let me do it a bit back here a little bit, okay? Good girl. We're going to walk with our dog, just walk along, and then I just want you to stop as if you've seen something. Shuffle backwards a little bit and bring your treat down. Length of the dog's body is the amount of distance you'll be travelling back, and then you're going to pay your dog there. Okay, so let's see that again. Heidi, good. So we go here, I'm going to stop, I'm going to take a little stride backwards, and she's going to nudge into me, good girlie. I don't mind whether they sit or not, doesn't matter, as long as their whole body is literally got their back to where you were heading. So you don't need to turn in circles, I'm doing that purely for the camera, and you just need to keep on your straight line. So I'll come towards the camera so you can see. You can repeat lots of these just in a short distance. So I go forward with my dog, stop and hesitate, take a couple of strides back, pay the dog. Then, as in your old thing that you've just taught the dog, going round beside you, I bring her back beside me, and I go forward again. I stop and hesitate, take a little stride back, and then pay here, good girl. And then we go round to the side of me, walk forward a little bit, stop and hesitate, take a couple of strides back, the length of the dog's body, and then pay. Bring the dog back round again, go forward, stop and hesitate, walk back, pay the dog. Come round beside me, walk forward, stop, hesitate, go backwards, pay the dog. Bring her beside me because they've already learnt this. Stop and hesitate, walk backwards. And what you'll find is if you repeat that 10 to 20 times in any one session, you'll find that your dog will automatically turn to you the second they see your feet stop and hesitate. So eventually, once you've done this in the kitchen and the dining room and the lounge and the garden and the front garden, the back garden, etc., you're going to find that the dog will be quite savvy at this and they actually won't need to put much thought into it. So all you need to do is carry on your straight line. You don't need to come off your straight line at all. You just need to let the dog do their job, but don't bore them with it. Just get that behaviour learnt, and then they will be able to access the information in a slightly more heavy going situation later on. So if you've got a dog that pulls because it's excited, because it sees another dog, or you might have a dog that gets excited because it sees somebody across the road or a squirrel, etc., all you want to do is you're going to stop and hesitate, or if you see something in the environment, stop and hesitate and take a couple of strides backwards and pay your dog between your knees or at nose level, wherever his height is, and that's where he'll end up each time. But you need to practice this everywhere, and then in the real case scenario, the chances are your dog will actually know what the answer is and be able to access that information. If they're too excitable, then they won't be able to do that. So we need to practice this in areas where there's no triggers to what normally makes them reactive or worried or what have you, and then eventually they'll be able to use that as a coping strategy to turn their back on something that they want, or turn their back on something like a cat or something like that. So do keep on practicing it.